Good morning, everyone. I am going to try something new today and do my analysis via video. I also typed something up this morning, but somebody was asking me if I could do a video analysis, and I decided I was going to give it a try this morning. This is really my first time doing this, so y'all bear with me, and if there's any suggestions or comments, just wait till the video is done, and you can leave them in the comment section. And perhaps next time I do this, I can use your advice to do it better. I'm willing to do something like this, especially on the weekends. But on the weekdays, I get up so early, it may be a little difficult. But if I can't get the chance and y'all enjoy this, I might keep doing this. So, like I said, I'll just wait for the feedback to see what happens. But anyways, what do we see here, guys? We see a pattern emerging. I have this line drawn a little bad. I'm gonna fix it. There we go. See, it hits the wicks up here and it hits the wicks down here. So it looks like we're stuck in this nice little triangle, which we shouldn't be for very much longer. We only have till about the 9th of March before we have to absolutely break out of this. And I would love to see it go to the upside, but we have a good way to figure out whether or not it's going up or down right now. It's because we're flirting with this 50 MA. Let me zoom in a little bit. See that 50 MA? It's this orange line cruising through the candles right here. We've been flirting with it, going above it, below it, above it, below it. And I would think before we break out over here, that's going to be the deciding factor. If we're below the 50 MA, we're probably going down. If we're above the 50 MA, we might break up. And who knows what happens after that, guys. The market is very on shaky ground right now, if you ask me. We tried to break out up here of the cloud. I remember on the 3rd of March, I was all excited because this candle right here had just painted. So I figured, all right, we're breaking out of the cloud. We're doing good. We might have another run. But ultimately, we fell back into it. And that's what the cloud does. It's very encapsulating. So if you turn the cloud on and you use it as an indicator, that's what it's known for. Look, right here, we painted around the the resistance. It's just a beautiful example of how the cloud works as resistance as well. So, this at least a full day where we couldn't get into the cloud. We finally broke into it after we broke above the 50 MA definitively and closed the candle above it, which is called the confirmation candle. I guess the bulls decided, hey, you know what? We just broke above that 50 MA. Let's go long, and it paid off. We did go up a few $1,000s, almost to 53,000 if I remember. Yeah, close to it. But ultimately, we did sink right back into that cloud. That shows you that the cloud is like quicksand. You can't have a good breakout, then you're probably going to get stuck in it. And the reason why also is this a descending resistance. Once there really wasn't no indication that that was going to be the case. But now that it's painted on there, you could see that it's making a pattern. And like I said, you definitely need 2 points to make this line right here. So nobody really knew that until after this was painted. So it's not a big deal, but it just shows you that resistance is abundant here, and we just couldn't muscle our way out of it right here. So what did we do? We spent 4 days inside that cloud. That's why I always use the cloud, guys. Look how dependable it is. We have not broken out of that cloud hardly at all. And it just shows you, look, even back here for about 5 or 6 days, this entire month, this cloud has come into play. And there's a lot of support here too, guys. That's why I had it circled. I circled it yesterday, but I didn't want to take it off quite yet because it's still important. Because even up here, I extended that blue line. That blue line is called the 4-hour 200 MA. And it represents the last 200 candles, the average of them. And you can see how it's been ascending. It's because we've been in a bull run. That's what happens when you are ascending the chart. Your indicators follow you up, And the blue line ends right with the candles, which it should. But I just estimated where I thought it would go, and it looks like it's making a triangle here, which makes me believe that a breakout is on the horizon. So within the next few days, guys, just keep an eye on that 50 MA, in my opinion. If we could stay above it, we may break out up. If we end up below it, like we are right now, we're probably going to break down. Even the breakout could happen today, guys. Just because we're not here doesn't mean the breakout can't happen. It can happen anywhere within this time period because we are close enough to the end where a breakout is on the horizon. We need to be ready for it, And that's including setting a stop loss and doing some other things, you know what I mean? And the way I would play this is if I thought we were going to break up, I'd set my stop loss somewhere down here where I felt safe, I wasn't going to get wicked out, and hope for a breakout up. Okay, so let's say, I'm just going to show you guys for example. I'm not being scientific here. I'm going to draw my stop loss here. Oh yeah, also, if you hold shift when you do this, somebody told me this the other day, hold shift and it makes that line perfectly straight, okay? So that's awesome, man. I didn't even realize that. If you hold shift while you're making a line like that, it makes it perfectly straight. So just keep that in mind. I think Raz told me that. I can't remember who told me that, man, but it sure helped me a lot. I've used it a lot. So, okay, so you're expecting this to break out to the upside, right? Let's just say we get to the end and you're expecting that breakout to come out. Okay, so let's say it doesn't and it falls down. Your stop loss is what's all that stops you from losing all this profit. You know what I mean? So you set your stop loss where you're not going to lose sleep at night. Let's just say it's right there, just for, you know what I mean, just for the sake of the analysis. But we break up, just like I said. So let's say we break up right to the top of that candle. I mean that arrow. What are you going to do with this stop loss? You're going to walk it up. Walk it up to the next support or resistance, which I would assume would probably be right around here, because you see that dotted line crosses right above this candle or right above this candle. That means that's some resistance right there. If we can get above that, that will be make it into a support, and if we lose that, that's where I want my stop loss to be. That's how I set my stop loss. I always look for support. I don't have a percentage. Like, people ask me, what percentage do you set your stop loss at? I don't ever use percentages. I use support and resistance. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. And I highly suggest you don't just use percentages, because percentages aren't going to thoroughly show you where support and resistance is. Just because you have a 5% stop loss, the drop might take 7%. You know what I mean? It doesn't make logical sense to me to use a percentage. You know what I mean? Average percentage, I'd say 5 to 10% on my stop losses, I guess. But man, sometimes they're lower, sometimes they're higher. It just depends on how I feel and how the market looks. And I have a video that covers that. So if you guys want to, it's a free video. It's in my YouTube channel. So if you guys are interested in exactly how I set a stop loss, go watch that video. It really explains it well. But like I said, guys, the market is, you know, a little shaky right now, I would say. It's the weekend, so I'm not expecting too terribly much in terms of volume. But let's say we do end up on top of this 50 MA tomorrow. And you know what? A lot of times these little breaks in the cloud too are good times for the candles to squirm up or down. So this is all. There's a lot of little factors in here, guys, that you know, I've been watching for years, the candles, and I notice things like this, like when the cloud turns from red to green right here. A lot of times the candles will use that little break to break up, or even if it's above it, to break down. And it's just certain things like that you just keep an eye on. You know what I mean? The MACD doesn't look particularly bearish or bullish. You know what I mean? I wouldn't enter any longs on account of the MACD. Let's put it that way. But it's a useful tool, don't get me wrong. I really enjoy the MACD. That's why I've had it on my chart a lot. I used to hate it, but some of the guys that trained me had just showed me a few things with it, and it does assist you. All of these indicators have some helpful use to them. So like I said, it's just a matter of which ones you enjoy. And you all know that I enjoy the 50 MA, which is this orange line. That represents 50 of these candles. So the last 50 candles are represented right here. That's where the average of the last 50 candles is, because that's where the line is. You know what I mean? The 50 MA represents the last 50 candles. So on a 4-hour time chart, that represents 50. So 200 hours. So last 200 hours, this is what this represents. So you have to do a little math. The daily chart, if you look at that 50 MA, it's the last 50 days. So they're all different, guys. Your 50 MA on the daily is going to be different than your 50 MA on the 4-hour. And I know a lot of you guys know that already. I know a lot of you guys are experts. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to educate you guys. I know there's a lot of noobs here, though, that don't even know how to draw lines. So every little bit of information I can shove their way, that's what I'm doing. And you can also see right here where the cloud worked. I mean, we did enter it a little bit, but ultimately we respected the boundaries right here. I mean, we fell right through it. But one thing, look at that wick. It almost, I mean, it did wick a little below it, but ultimately it held. And it just shows you that this cloud is more useful than people give it credit for, in my opinion. A lot of people say, oh, that's just the noise on your chart. Well, if you don't like it, you know what? Get rid of it. But now you can't see where that support and resistance is. There's no a method to the madness of why we're stuck here. But if you turn it back on, what you can do, guys, is if you want to get rid of an indicator, but you don't want to kick it off your chart, you just want to hide it, just click on this eyeball, and it'll pull it up and pull it down. You know what I mean? That way you don't have to kick it off your chart. And since I'm here, I want to show you guys another trick. I've been showing it in my videos lately, but this magnet is very useful, especially if you're going to lay a fib or something. You want it to be accurate, guys. So here, let me, I'm going to draw just a random fib. Let's draw it from right about here, huh? 29,000, that's good. Okay, so fib retracement, right? So I don't have the magnet on. Let me show you guys. See how you got to kind of get it perfect below that wick, and the magnet automatically sucks it up to the wick. You can see. You see how that crosshair follows the contour of the candles instead of following where my crosshair is a little below. Now it's there, but once you get a little close, it automatically sucks up to the closest wick, which you may have to adjust it. It didn't do it there. I mean, sometimes it's not as perfect as I would hope. But there you go. There's the top. We got it perfectly on there. Now here's where you come down here, and there you go. Perfect. So now it's guaranteed to be on that wick and on this wick. There's no doubts about it. A lot of people are very sticklers when you come to do stuff like this. You know what I mean? All the traders are like, hey, that's not touching the bottom of that wick. You go to it, it's $15 off. But they're right. You know what I mean? So that's the tool you use to eliminate those little discrepancies like that. And I've been using it often. I remember I used it a long time ago, and I totally just ignored it for about a year. And then somebody was like, hey, turn the magnet on. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot all about that thing. It's very useful, guys. But like I said, there's a lot of tools on here that you can utilize. I try to include a little education with my analysis. But ultimately, guys, I think if we can muscle our way above the 50 MA, we have a real shot of breaking up from this. But the problem is there's resistance here that's going to try to stop us at about 52,500, and then above that, the real line in the sand is 58,500. That's our previous all-time high. And in order to keep this bull run going, we're going to have to create those higher highs, guys. That's what the bulls want to see. And if they don't see that over time, they're likely going to get discouraged. And another thing I see right here is I mean, dude, people may argue with me, but this kind of looks like a head and shoulders. What do y'all think? Just tell me what you think. Don't argue with me, you know what I mean? If you don't like it, that's what this market's all about, guys. If you don't agree, you don't have to insult anybody. It just looks like it to me, but the market will ultimately decide it. That's a head and shoulders, we're going down. But like I said, if the market decides it. So if I say it looks like one and you say it doesn't look like one, let's just see what happens. You know, if we break down, then I was right. If we break up, you were right. So that's the way I look at it. Instead of arguing, let's just watch and see, you know. But anyways, I just thought I would try this video this morning. I do get off track a little bit sometimes when I chat, but I do enjoy chatting about Bitcoin. And somebody had mentioned earlier this week that they would like to see me try to do something like this. So maybe on the weekends I'll try to do this more often. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I'll have to see what the response is today to this video analysis. But I appreciate you all stopping in. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments or ways that I can make this even better, I'd be more than happy to entertain them and possibly include them in the next analysis I do via video. I'm using OBS. I'm learning how to use the system. I'm thinking I'm doing a good job, but like I said, if y'all know any tricks to the trade, let me know, and I'll be happy to include those too. You know, I want to make better videos for you guys and better analysis. So, like I said, I'm a klutz with computers, so you guys are lucky I figured out how to get this far. But I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see y'all next time.